I wear a number of hats. Today I'm wearing the hat of an emo. There's not a lot of people in the AARP that wear emo hats. I also wear the hat of a radio talk show host of 37 years. 37 years of sitting in a radio studio in complete silence, listening to voice upon voice. You learn over the years that you can tell an awful lot from a person's voice. I can tell if they're mad. I can even tell if they're coming at me from the right or the left wing, just by their voice. The other hat I wear, bear this in mind, it's going somewhere, is that as a teacher, one of the subjects I teach is choir. In another lifetime, I was in religious life and wore the clothes of a Catholic brother. And I worked with boys' choirs, traveled with them and things like that, taught them to sing. I learned a lot about voice from that, too. Now, one of the things I've always told the kids in choir is don't curse. You boys are choir boys, sort of like angels to old ladies who are inspired and speechless when they hear your voices. You must always remember that you must use that voice carefully. You cannot say any word that rhymes with duck. I don't even want to hear you say muck. And I never want you to yell, because think of yourself as an angel. Angels don't yell and curse. Besides that, your voice is an instrument, perhaps God's greatest instrument. And if you yell and scream four-letter words, you will strain that voice. The same as when you pound on Grandma's grand theater piano, and you pound the keys and Grandma gets all upset, because when you pound the keys on the piano, you stretch the strings, you weaken the mallets, and the piano will not be in tune. The human voice is an instrument, and that voice, if abused, such as screaming for help at the top of your lungs, it will stretch those chords, and your voice will become raspy. So if Zimmerman was the one that did that screaming, then he should have had a very raspy voice after that was all said and done, and all the yelling stopped. Has anyone thought to think of that, or asked that question? What was his voice like? We saw his head concussion and his broken nose. Was his voice the same way, miraculously healed in a matter of moments? Try it. Experiment with yourself. Go outside and scream, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore." Do that 3 times and then see if you don't have a raspy voice. Don't do it. This take your stand law guarantees violence. Let's look at the facts here. Statistically, people that murder other people tend to do it in the dark, in the secrecy of just the two of them. They don't like to do it in front of crowds. So whenever anybody says they threaten my life, more cases than not, there isn't going to be a witness to what happened. The one's alive and can tell their story. The other's dead and can't say a thing. The take a stand log, here's how it guarantees violence. The person who's being murdered senses that they're being murdered, and they try to defend themselves. Yeah. In Trayvon's case, he may have seen that gun and grabbed for it, tried to keep himself from being shot while he yelled for help. I don't know, but I do know this is a mockery that man has not been arrested, because it is literally a license to kill. The Portland Police Department has been doing this for years. They kill somebody who's unarmed. They shoot him in the back, and they say, "I felt threatened." and they get off. And now we are giving the same right to nuts, to wackos. This is very wrong. Damn. It's unfair. If you'll excuse me.